Okay, so just as a fantasy note, this week 7 is a bye week for a number of good teams and a bigger number of really, really good players. So if you have players on these teams, you're going to be hard pressed in your games this week because you're going to be missing some major talent. The teams that are on the bye this week, week 7, is the Buffalo Bills, the Dallas Cowboys, the Minnesota Vikings, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Los Angeles Chargers, and Jacksonville. This is crazy, okay? That means you are missing the likes of Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Emmanuel Sanders, Dawson Knox, Dak Prescott, Zeke Elliott, Tony Pollard, Mari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, Schultz, Cousins, Dalvin Cook, Justin Jefferson. These are all players that are carrying people's fantasy teams. They will all be off this week. So hopefully you prepared ahead. Hopefully you scan the waiver wire to find other players that you can put into your lineups this week to take these guys' places. And if you're lucky, get you a win without your studs before they come back in week 8. So good luck with that.
Fantasy alert, fantasy alert. All right, this leads us into the final portion of the show. This leads us into current events, where we go to the Ben and Barry on Football Facebook page. I bet you can't say that 5 times fast. And look at the stuff that's already been posted. Again, go to the Ben and Barry on Facebook page and leave your comments. We'd love to include them in the discussion. All right, Benny, I just want to give you a chance to talk about Chase Young honoring Sean Taylor with the tape face mask.
Yeah, this is pretty cool. This is pretty cool. Sean Taylor's jersey, I think, is going to be retired, and/or he's going to be put into the Washington football team's Ring of Honor. He's already in the Ring of Honor, to tell you the truth. They're going to they're retiring the jersey, right?
I think that was it.
Yeah, this is a retirement of the jersey celebration, which is great. Sean Taylor was a great player. Passed away far too soon. Was actually murdered in his own home. I think it's a good thing that Chase Young, such a young player, is giving out his own little tribute to Sean Taylor, and by putting the tape on the mask to make it look like it's his face mask is striped, is something that Sean Taylor used to do. So I thought that was pretty neat. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
All righty. All righty. Let's roll up. David Baker's retiring.
I did not watch his retirement speech. Did you?
No, I didn't watch his retirement speech. I just always am amazed at the size of this guy.
He's a big dude.
That's a big guy knocking on the door. Now clarify for me this, Benny, because this whole door knocking thing.
Yes.
Are all of the potential Hall of Famers, are they all in like a hotel or something, waiting to hear if they get the door knock?
Yeah, it used to be like that, but after COVID, he was going to people's houses.
Okay, because I can't imagine being like in that hotel waiting to see if a knock happens.
And the knock doesn't come.
It don't happen.
That's the way it was, yes.
Oh, man.
It was.
All right. Well, he was.
That's when they narrowed down the finalists, is what happens.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was wondering, I didn't really look too far into this, but the first thing that came to my head, and this may or may not be fair to say, but first thing that came into my head was better check his emails.
Are you referring to the scandals?
Yes, I am.
Jeez. Well, do you remember him as a player at all?
No, I do not.
Okay. I didn't either, but he looks big enough to have played, so I'm assuming he did. All right, let's roll up real quick. Ben, brain farts happen. This was a learning situation. Did you see this
This is
video at all?
where a coach assumes that a player knows what's going on. You can't assume. You never assume.
So rather than spike the ball, he took a knee.
Right, which does not
do something special. And not understanding the situation. Football is so situational. I just feel so sorry for him.
The bottom line is, in order to get off the field, to place the ball where you want it on the field and get off the field so your field goal kicker can come in and win the game for you, you must stop the clock. Taking a knee does not stop the clock.
That's the exact opposite. And in the right situation, if that's what you want, then that's what you do. You take a knee. But again, a learning situation with a young guy, oh man, you got to feel for him. And you never know. You don't know what the coach has said. Maybe some confused coach gave him bad.
No, the coach didn't say anything. That's what I think.
Oh, you think the coach left him out there on his own?
He left him out there on his own, assuming that he knew that the clock only stops on incomplete passes, which a clocking of the ball is considered.
Okay.
Taking a knee is the same as running and getting tackled in bounds. The clock does not stop. What football player doesn't know that?
Beside that guy?
Beside that guy, yeah. But that's why you have coaches. Coaches are supposed to take that assumption out. You're supposed to say what seems and feels like the obvious.
That's right. Don't let
and
the
remind
obvious
him.
go.
Clock it, clock. You can shout it out. And we don't have sound. Maybe he did. But you got to say, clock it, clock it, clock it. And you make the throwing down motion. You get his attention. Johnny, clock it, clock it. That's all he had to do. That's all he had to do. That's it. Nothing more.
Putting this on the coach, right?
Yes.
All right. That's where it belongs. This piece, we're looking at what the NFL is doing about COVID. I'm not going to go deeply into this. We mentioned this earlier in the show. This was an opportunity for the NFL to work with the CDC, Center for Disease Control, and show how their protocols have been successful. The NFL was very successful in managing COVID outbreaks, keeping COVID from becoming a major problem with the players. Of course, it gets in, but using testing, using vaccination, and using other common sense procedures, they've done a great job, and they wanted to put that information out to the CDC so that it could be used in society when thinking about how to protect yourself from what's going on with the COVID virus. And again, they're paying these guys millions and millions of dollars. So, they're protecting their investment in the best way that they know how. And I think when you know how someone values something, how the NFL values their players or the contracts that they're playing on, however you want to look at it, they're doing the best that they can. And so this is the best of the best in terms of that. So you can go to Ben & Barry on football and and read what the NFL is actually doing. Any word on that, Benny?
No.
All right. I was just being snarky.
Yeah, I figured that.
But Tom Brady is the master of the quarterback sneak. And one thing I noticed when I looked at the replay of the Bills, they started out like in a shotgun and then kind of moved up to the line of scrimmage for the quarterback sneak, which is kind of cool that, they kind of set up in one formation and then move to the other formation. I like to do that. And then he slipped. Tom Brady just knows how to dig right in and tunnel right up under there with that 6'5" frame. And what did we say last week? I think it was that he was celebrating 1,000 yards rushing.
That was last season. I think he did that.
Okay, but that was for his career.
Yes. He had 1,000 yards for his career. Most of them on quarterback sneaks. In fact, I'd be curious to see, you're real good at looking up stuff real fast. I'd be real curious to find out what is Tom Brady's career longest run from scrimmage.
Oh, career longest run, not his average.
No, one run, his longest run of how far did it go?
That might have happened recently with the Bucks. I remember he took off one time with the Bucks.
He got like 20 yards, maybe something like that.
Something like that. But it says here Brady's longest career came against the Bengals in 2006, a 22-yard first down scramble.
What I say? What I say? What did I say? His longest run of his career was 22 yards, and he had 1,000 yards plus for his career. That's amazing.
What's even more amazing is that there's a video here of the top 5 longest runs by Tom Brady.
And they're all 22 yards or less.
Or less. All right. We've been very big proponents of Deion Sanders and what he's been doing as far as the HBCUs and what he's trying to do as far as the African-American community and helping in a lot of different ways. And Deion is quoted here saying, "We got to stop the killing." He pleased the Jackson residents after their homecoming win. So apparently Jackson is having some of the same issues urban Americans having. And I just said, thanks, Deion. Let's talk about the culture of gangsterism, thugism, and the type of people who are killing at random in our community. And I really think that we're not focused enough on who these people are and why they're doing what they're doing. The average person is walking around like, we don't really know who these people are, but they're picking them up. They're booking them in many cases. Many cases, they're not. In too many cases, they're not. But I think that the community needs to know what's going on a little bit more. And I also think, and this was kind of interesting, we were sharing some pictures of my grandson, and he had one picture, and Kia said something about thug life, and Chris was like, no thugs in this family. she just in that little texting back and forth. And I was so proud. I jumped right on the bandwagon with her. It was like, we ain't even going there. That's not even joking. We ain't even joking about that no more, because it's just too much happening. They're killing babies, young kids, and it's just completely stupid. And so, but I'm glad to see Deion reaching beyond Jackson State and, and talking about what's going on in the community as he attempts to build young men and build their character and prepare them for a professional next life. So I'm really happy about that. Anything on that?
I read this article. If it wasn't this specific one, it was one in reference to this game. And unfortunately, I'm getting old and my memory isn't what it used to be, but I believe that actually during this game, there was a killing in the city of Jackson while they were playing this game.
Really?
Jackson. And and it's a huge win, 28-7. It was homecoming. It was a bitter rival, Alabama State. And when he came to his post-game press conference, instead of talking about the game, that's what he talked about.
Wow.
Culture, the killing, what happened, what he heard, what he knew, and all that. So I could be wrong. Maybe it wasn't the same day. It might have been the day before or something. But for some reason, I think it happened during the game and somebody told him about it. And it had him, he was so concerned that he spent the majority of his post-game press conference talking about that and not the game.
Okay, go Deion. What do we have next? Let's move beyond this. Trade deadline is November 2nd.
There's one big deal on this one.
And who would that be?
Deshaun Watson. The Houston Texans are in serious negotiations with the Miami Dolphins. That's as of this morning. I haven't had the sound up on my television. I've been glancing. I can't remember seeing anything yet. But the word is that on November 2nd or before November 2nd, which is only weeks away, a deal will be made. There are other teams that have shown interest. Whether or not they're going to jump back in this thing, Eagles being one of them, I don't know. But right now, it looks like the Dolphins have the inside track The Texans have softened their stance as far as what they want back in compensation for Watson. I think they're just fed up with this whole situation. And the Dolphins seem to be of the mindset that regardless of what happens to him, as far as these allegations against him are concerned, we're willing to take all that on and ride with him because we want him to be a Miami Dolphin. Now, what this does to Tua, I have no idea. Whether or not he might be part of the trade for all I know, and I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know what they're offering, and I don't know exactly what the Texans are asking for, but it's looking real serious like this deal is going to get made.
Something's got to be done, and they got to do it by the deadline. That's one thing deadlines do. It does make you move. All right. We talked about race norming during the summer. Race norming came up in the settlement, the concussion settlement that the NFL had with the players. And what race norming was is that rather than sort of giving everybody an equal amount, they were divvying out money based on cognitive scores and how much they changed. And there was a presumption that the cognitive scores for African Americans were lower, so they were generally getting lower payouts. And that was sort of going on. It's amazing in this yin-yang world how the NFL could be doing some of the best social work that they could do. I mean, really making strides socially while still proposing or attempting to maintain this race norming approach to settling on the concussions. Finally, they reached an agreement to end it with the Players Association and the former players, and I'm glad to see it. Most people probably had no idea what's happening. It was happening quietly in a courtroom somewhere. It's not one of those things on the field. And you didn't hear any of the current players talk about it, and I didn't hear a whole bunch on any of the sports shows either. Nope. So again, we were on top of things when it was popping, and glad to see that it's now over. Just for the education of it, I posted this article explaining the waiver wire and how this stuff actually happens. And in this particular case, they were applying it to the Patriots. But you know, there's so much to all of this all of this stuff in the NFL when it comes to trading and, you know, moving people from place to place and all the different situations that people would come in, whether they're going to qualify for the waiver wire, whether they're, you know, they've got what is it when you've been at a company for a certain amount of time and you get, what's the word? You qualify for benefits and stuff.
I'm sorry.
Tenure.
Blank that. Tenure.
Tenure. Yes, you get tenure. So that was that. Okay, this was fun. Ben, do you have a new respect for Michael Hyde now? Micah Hyde.
First of all, there's nothing fun about this.
Why are you laughing?
There's nothing fun about that as far as Micah Hyde is concerned. And I have always respected Micah Hyde. He has always proven himself to be somewhat of a big hitter, not, you know, a big hitter like some of the all-time guys, but he's not afraid to stick his nose in there. I think in this particular instance, he got caught looking down the gun barrel, but he did the best that he could, and he actually brought the man down. So kudos to him for that.
Hey, look, I'm telling you, man. I kept going, who is that guy? I had to find out who it was. Hey, I didn't know.
I've seen a lot worse business decisions than that.
That pretty much wraps up the current events portion of the show. And wraps up the Ben and Barry on football, where Ben, you get the last word.
And the last word is go Knowles.